So we might as well kick off the conversation, and one of the first questions that we're going to address is the cost of living in Germany versus the salary that people should earn. So what we want to talk through is the different tools that someone can use to calculate their salary and the cost of living. Now I'm going to start by just explaining how I typically encourage people to get a benchmark, and then I guess you'll get a much better answer after my shoddy attempt. But we typically use the net salary that someone earns in their current country and the cost of their rent or their mortgage. And then once you have those two figures, you can kind of at least draw some kind of comparison to what you would need to earn in Germany, because you can use the typically the increase in the cost of a mortgage or the cost of rent to then gauge how much does the net salary have to increase. And then from the net salary, we get the gross salary with a tax calculator. That is about as good as my advice gets. So I think maybe I should hand you over to the real professionals on this topic and see what advice they have on this question.
I was going to say you nailed it.
Well, technically you already reverse engineered it, because I think what's very common is in job ads or in negotiations that you just get a gross yearly number thrown at your head pretty much, and you need to deal with that. And we know, especially from, let's say, people not coming from the Eurozone, already the euro is they cannot grasp it. What does it even mean? What does it get me? And then a salary even less, particularly because Germany, I would say, depending on where you're from, has a lot higher deductions from your salary than you might be used to. So it's obviously extremely individual, and that's why also there are these calculators that give you a better estimate, a better feel of what you can expect. But one can kind of say around 40% of your gross yearly salary you won't even see in your bank account. That's where it starts.
Yeah, exactly. And regarding the cost of living, well, of course, it highly depends on your lifestyle and what kind of hobbies do you have or don't have. Do you want to go to the gym or want to do workout at home, for example, is a clear example. Also, do you have kids or not? Will they be going to international schools or public schools? So it really depends on the lifestyle. And I think that's a very good kind of estimation what you say, Jamie, because based on your rent, you kind of have a sense of where you might land. We have on our website, Simple Germany, a really detailed examples, and we also have a YouTube video where we go into talking about our cost of living. We have a very, I would say, simple kind of lifestyle in Germany, which allows us to live with, I would say, relatively little money. But what's super cool is that all of these deductions that happen on your salary, you don't have to worry about basic things like health insurance. There's another care insurance that gets deducted as well. Pension insurance. What is the third one?
Unemployment insurance. So pretty much the entire social system lets you either love or hate. A lot of foreigners love it. So that's pretty much, from your net salary, it's really just your rent and your living expenses. It's not any more healthcare or anything. So that sometimes takes a big chunk in other countries.
Yeah, a very big also thing to point out, the cost of living is something I think that happens when you're once stable in Germany, and then it's your monthly recurring cost. But when you move to Germany, you will also have to take some of the cost as well, some things that I don't know if it's very common in other countries, but in Germany it's very, very well known that a kitchen is not included, for example, when you rent an apartment. So most often than not, you need to invest some money in buying a new kitchen, for example. You need to give at least a 3-month caution is called, which is a down payment. So 3 times the rent of your apartment, you need to pay up front as well. So roughly, we did an estimation also in another video on YouTube, but roughly we estimate you need at least 2,000 euros to be able to relocate to Germany.
So you need 2,000.
There we go.
Depending on your rent.
Yeah, so 2,000 to 3,000 for that kind of upfront cost of securing accommodation. And how much does the cost of living vary from city to city in Germany? Is it all the same?
No, it really, really varies. If we just look at the pure rental prices, Munich stands out as by far the most expensive city, followed by Stuttgart and Frankfurt. So more the southern part of Germany, I would say. Whereas, let's say on average, Berlin, for example, on average it's always relatively low, but we know in reality it's really, really high. So it really depends on where you want to live. If you want to live smack in the city center, expect tremendously high rents. If you are okay to maybe commute because you're used to commuting anyways, then you can also, of course, like have a bit of lower rents. But yes, cities vary. The more known the name, pretty much the higher the rent. If you go to smaller towns, which still have a great life, depending, of course, where you get your job, then you can also expect lower rental prices.
Yes. The one thing to point out about Berlin is that it's a super popular hub, of course, because there's a lot of tech companies and startups there as well. So rent tends to be the tricky part where people have the first shock that it's not as cheap. However, other things are a little bit cheaper than other cities in Germany, like grocery shopping and going out for restaurants and entertainment in general tends to be a bit cheaper in Berlin than in the rest of Germany.
Mm-hmm. And when we're talking about high rents, there could be some people watching this thinking, oh my God, I've got to pay 300 euros rent. That's really high compared to today. And someone else might be saying, oh no, high means 5,000 euros. So could we maybe give some people an indication of what high rents actually, what the number might be in places like Munich and Berlin?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, high is different for everyone. Just to give an idea of what an okay rent is. For families or for couples, rent usually takes around on average 30% of your net salary, and as a single, 40% of your net salary. So you should not look at rent that is more than 40% of your net salary, because then you could run into more difficulties or not such a comfortable lifestyle anymore. And then as a number, if you ask us, a rent of 1,000 is really high, but really individual. I would say the 30-40% mark of net salary gives a better feeling.
Maybe to try to give a little bit of an example, in Dusseldorf, at least, if you're looking at a rent of 4,000 euros a month, that is extremely a lot of money. However, those 4,000 euros might get you a very kind of modern looking, fancy in a way, good location, big apartment. And a lot of, so I would say that is very expensive, but maybe 4,000 for other people in a house that it's a bigger family is not that expensive, right? It's also relative to your lifestyle and what you want.
Right.
Your general advice of like 30 or 40% of net salary sounds like really good, sound advice to go on.